guys, I just wanted to make this video truly because I feel so many women don't know that they actually have a choice and that they matter as a patient. So I'm going to share with you guys just my personal experience as to why I switched from a doctor to a midwife at 30 weeks pregnant. Just because my first pregnancy with Ellie, my daughter, she is almost going to be 3 now. It was very, I felt very pushed, like I didn't actually have a say or a matter in the birthing preferences or plan. So first off, I want to start by saying that you matter, mama. It is your pregnancy. It is your baby. So your preferences matter, and as long as you do have the state of mind that anything can happen, so just be realistic and knowing that your plan can completely go out the window, but at least be guarded about your preferences. And just, it's okay to tell the doctor or the midwife, no, can we just wait? Or anything like, I'd rather not do that. It's okay to have a voice and to speak up. That's definitely what I'm learning this second pregnancy. So I did write some side notes just so then that way I don't forget some things on this video, just because I felt like it was so important to touch base with mamas out there because this could be happening to you. And I felt so uneducated until I really had some awesome people come in my life and educate me and empower me to just know that I have a voice and know that this matters during, know that the baby and the preferences matter during your pregnancy. So right now I'm actually 39 weeks and 3 days. So we should be delivering any day now, basically, hopefully, fingers crossed. But there is 3 main reasons that I want to touch base on why I switched from my usual primary care OBGYN to a midwife now. So first and foremost, my daughter was born a C-section due to the fact that she was breech. So I really didn't have any choices at that time. My body never actually naturally went into labor. I never contracted or anything like that. I just simply felt this very weird pain that day, and no matter what I did, if I laid down or if I walked, no matter what, the pain was not going away, and I just felt like something was really weird. I called my husband that day while he was at work, and I said, don't rush home, it's fine, but I just wanted to let you know, I think when you get home, instead of taking me out for my birthday dinner, let's just head to the hospital because I don't know if this is right. And he actually thought that we were going to get sent home, but then they actually found out that Ellie was breech. They did offer me where they can flip and try and turn her, but I was told by the doctor at that time who had told us that for a first-time pregnancy, most of the time it does not work. It's better if you're a second-time mom, and typically it works then. So we decided not to do that because I had no clue and just went with what the doctors were telling me. So I knew this second pregnancy coming along that I really wanted a VBAC. So for those of you who are uneducated on what a VBAC is, it's just simply vaginal birth after C-section. So I knew that was the first question that I needed to ask my doctor, and if he was not supportive of that, then I was going to leave the practice at that time, right then and there, at the start of that very second pregnancy. So he actually said he's totally fine with doing it. He put me in this calculator that they have nowadays, and he said it was a 70% chance, which I was thinking, great, okay. At first I said, no, that doesn't seem too great, is it? And he said, actually, that's really great. You don't have any complications in your pregnancy, so you're very healthy. We can go from there. So I thought at that time everything would be great. Second, that was basically the first thing that was my main concern, finding a doctor who was supportive of a VBAC. So since he was, I stayed, and then I continued to go to my appointments. And then really once I started getting closer and closer, I started asking more questions, and just the answers didn't line up to what I was feeling, and it didn't feel right at all. I had asked him if I had the choice to tear naturally or if he still cuts, episiotomies. And literally the story he shared with me was absolutely so incredibly unprofessional. So I asked him my question about that, and he said it's a game time decision, which that's fine. I totally understand. And he said, but I never really do them that often, although I did just have to cut up some girl about an inch. She didn't even know, it was totally fine. So the fact that he shared that with me about a different patient that he went through, and clearly she would have known after the fact, just made me feel incredibly uncomfortable and very unprofessional. Just made my opinion about him a lot different. The second thing I asked at that same visit was, how far along will you let me go before you enforce inducing me? And he said at 39 weeks, and I just felt extremely uncomfortable with that, because I knew in my head that a full-term pregnancy can be anywhere between 40 to 42, because our due date is a rough estimate, technically, as to when baby can come. So I really didn't feel that 39 weeks was an okay answer. I at least wanted him to say 40. So I just sat there and I didn't say anything. This whole appointment, actually, I just sat there and took it all in after I asked my questions, and he responded back with answers that made me feel very uncomfortable, or I just felt in my heart wasn't right with this pregnancy. So my third question that I asked him was, and what are my options as to labor and delivery, drug-free or not? And he said, well, what do you mean, what are your options? You can either get a C-section or not. And I said, no, I mean, I would prefer no epidural. And he literally laughed in my face, and he said that he refuses to do that. He said that there's too much risk when you are a VBAC patient, and that any single woman that he has ever been told that they wanted a VBAC and that they wanted no epidural, that he was rushing around at the very last second to shove in an epidural, blah, 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 which half of the time, your doctor isn't even the person that puts in your epidural, so why he said that doesn't even make sense to me. But anyhow, that's neither here nor there. So I just sat there and tried to digest everything and mentally process everything in my head that he said at that appointment. And as I was walking out, I just felt, this isn't right. I am so close now, and I'm not going to get this close just to be pushed around again. And it made me feel like, do I even matter? Do I even have a say? Do I have my own right? Do I have my own opinion? Which I do. So I was just driving home that day, and I had called my husband and I was telling him about it, and he, said, do what you feel is right and do what you feel in your heart is okay. And then I had called my mom, and she just said kind of the same thing. So as I was driving home, I almost felt like a panic attack coming on as to, I'm so late in the game trying to switch over to my pregnancies to try and find a different supportive provider who would at least put my preferences into play, versus, still finding that VBAC support, trying to tear naturally if that is the case, using essential oils, not having any interruptions or interferences preferably. So I really just wanted to focus on all things natural this pregnancy, and just enjoy and embrace this pregnancy and this labor and delivery and look at it completely different versus my first pregnancy. So that is what I have been doing this time around. I've been taking care of me, been taking care of my body so my body can be relaxed and try to birth this baby naturally. So I had 2 massages this pregnancy. I've had acupuncture this pregnancy and also chiropractic care. And I feel a major difference versus my first pregnancy versus this pregnancy. I literally loved being pregnant this time. I really didn't have much aches and pains and pregnancy things going on. If I did, I handled them naturally, and there was an amazing outcome for it where it went away. So now I'm still delivering at the same hospital. It's not going to be a home birth. It's at the hospital, actually. So I'll be delivering at McGee. I know everybody has their own hospitals that they like and their own horror stories or their own positive stories. I've had a really great positive story at McGee already, so that makes me feel comfortable. Secondly, I went with the midwives at McGee because I could not go to the midwife center downtown just because of my previous C-section. So now that I made the switch, I am probably 4 appointments in with the midwives at McGee, and I have to travel to different offices, which honestly I don't even mind whatsoever because they are so encouraging, loving, and supportive. And obviously this video is far from being sponsored. I'm no YouTube crazy guru person out there. I'm just literally making this video to let every mama out there know that you make a difference and that your preferences matter. So obviously when it comes time to it, all that matters most is that you and your baby are healthy and you know, both make it through the delivery process. And it's such a powerful experience that I cannot wait to go through that. But I know now that I have amazing support in my corner. They know my options. They know my preferences. They care about it. They're not forcing me to do anything that makes me feel pressured. They're all for me diffusing my essential oils, getting on a birthing ball, not having IVs and all of this stuff hooked up and connected to me. The only thing that, we had talked about is if my fluids or anything like that's low, or if I need to actually, if something were to go wrong, instead of already having a empty epidural in place, it's just a hep lock, so there'll be an empty IV in my arm ready to go in case anything would go wrong. But other than that, they are seriously super supportive. They even told me I can shower through my contractions if I am there, if I come in a little bit too early. And they just really respect you as a woman and as your own, try to give you your own birthing preferences. And they do simply remind you, that things can go differently, but you just have to have an open mind. So I am very excited that we are getting closer and closer to this meeting, this new bundle of joy. Who knows if it's a little boy or a little girl. So we will see come that time. And I hope this video actually hits home to you, mama, and that it makes a difference within your pregnancy, within your birthing experience, because it truthfully matters, and you and your choices make a difference too. So hope you guys have a great day, and thanks for watching.